watching. 3, 2, 1, and and 100. I like cars with big derrieres, and I cannot lie. Hips that are also wide, they look great for me. Practicality is something that is a really key importance for me when it comes to cars. And that's one of the key reasons why when I'm looking at wagons, the boot space, it's very crucial into how these cars work, as well as the off-road capabilities. And when you're looking at the competitors to this car, the Gecko system or the Quattro system, it's one that has won over several of the other cars when you look at the online reviews. Some of the cars that compete against this car include the Volvo V70, the Volvo V60 Cross Country, the Subaru Outback, which is quite common on the Kenyan roads, as well as the sister, the VW Golf All-Track. The All-Track and the Allroad are a bit of the similar system, but not quite the same, even though it's sister companies. Something else interesting about the car is when you look at certain reviews, you'll find that the Audi Q5 is matched up against the A4 Allroad. Key reason being the Allroad is the smaller wagon version of the Q5. And when you look on Kenyan roads, you already know the clear winner when you see how many cars are mainly on the roads. So this is the Audi A4 Allroad Quattro Premium Trim, and you're watching Familiar Gary. This car, which is currently on sale, going for 2.8 million, is sponsored by one of my friends called Kakaruto on X. He's the CTO of autoheaven.io, which is a car social network. Now, one of the ways that I managed to be able to get access to the car is based on an article that he wrote on X. It went on to garner over 250,000 views, and you really should go and check it out. The very first Audi Allroad came out in 1999, and in 2009 that's when the first generation of the A4 started out. And it was a bit of a spin-off whereby they shrunk it a little bit in comparison to the initial version. And when you look at the sister, the Audi A6, it maintains sort of a little bit the sizing. And one of the other ways you can tell the difference between an A4 and A6 is for the A4 this is a bit smaller, and for the A6 it's way larger. That's like the easiest way you can be able to tell the difference. Given that this car came before the whole craze of the SUV crossovers, the estate crossover is something that was quite common around that time, especially thanks to the Subaru Outback. And so prior to the Q5 coming in, most people who are looking for off-road capabilities with a wagon feel, this was the car that they went for. So you had either to choose between the Volvo V70, the Subaru Outback, or the Audi Allroad. So if you're looking as a family for a small all-road estate sort of a thing, this is what you'd be looking at. If you're looking for something slightly bigger, then maybe you'd be looking at either the A6 all-road, or you can be looking at the Subaru Outback. The V70, there are a couple of them on the Kenyan roads, but it's just a handful and they're sort of dying out. These ones are a lot more rare, but a lot more interesting. Now, some of the other things that are key difference between the A4 Allroad versus the A4 Avant, because they're more or less similar, is that the Avant is more straight and for the Allroad is more all-road. But there are a number of things that really make it stand out. For example, first of all, you've got the wide hips, which are different by about 1.5 inches on both sides. Other features that really stand out include the Quattro all-wheel drive system versus the front-wheel drive with an option for Quattro, the 8-speed auto with manual shift versus a CVT in the Avant, a higher ground clearance, optional adjustable air suspensions, underbody protection, plastic-cladded wider hips and skid plates, roof rails, and accentuated bumpers. So all of this basically sounds like you're comparing a V40 Cross Country, V60 Cross Country, Golf variant, and a Golf All-Track. They are basically just taking the sedan that you love, they turn it into a wagon, and then they give it an off-road capability. But always remember that it's not just skid plates and suspensions that you bring in to convert it into what you're looking for. Now, remember, one of the key things that makes this car to stand out from the Avant is the ground clearance. Now, for the all-road, it gets about 6.1 inches of ground clearance in comparison to Kenyan bumps, which comes in at relatively about 6 inches. This is also in comparison to other Kenyan roads that go into almost about 12 inches. I know it sounds like a bit of an exaggeration, but try and go into the rural roads where guys just make their own bumps and see how high they are. Keep in mind, when you put this in competition against the Outback comes in at about 8.7 inches worth of ground clearance. Putting those two into comparisons and seeing as the A6, the A4, and the Outbacks are police cars, in European roads, yeah, it works out for them. Key reason being, you have a car that it has ground clearance, but it is low also enough to chase after Ferraris and Lamborghinis. But in Kenya, we don't roll like that. Key note about when we're talking about off-road, this is intended for light off-road, not for heavy off-road. No, it does not have a 4x4 system. This is an all-wheel drive system. So what that means is you don't have the switch to go between 4 high, 4 low, and 2 low. It is always, all the time, power going to all 4 wheels. Another thing is when you're looking at the approach and the departure angle, both of them, they're relatively great when you're going on the off-road sections, but the breakover angle, which is in between, it's not that high to deal with so many strong rocks or that challenge that you are considering going for. So this is gravel, mud, and a little bit of that off-road. I am simply just going to read out the different features that he's highlighted about this particular trim. Now, the premium trim is the lower one, then there's the premium plus, and then there's the prestige, which is packed full of goodies. But you can still get a car that has certain of these different elements that are packed into it. So here we go. Exterior features: Xenon Plus headlights with LED daytime running lights, automatic headlights, front and rear fog lights, heated windshield washer nozzle, power adjustable heated exterior mirrors, roof rails, 18-inch wheels on 245 by 40 R18 tires, a power tailgate. On the interior section, some of the key things are 3-zone automatic climate control, leather seating surfaces, 8-way power front seats with 4-way power lumbar adjustment for driver, split folding rear seat backs, tilt and telescopic adjustable steering column, leather wrapped steering wheel with shift paddles, heated front seats, Audi advanced keyless entries, and start. For the technology, there's the Audi MMI multimedia interface system, 6.5-inch color display screen, an Audi concert radio with 10 speakers and single CD player, Sirius XM satellite radio, you do not use that in Kenya, Bluetooth wireless technology, Audi Connect features, which require subscription. In terms of safety, there is the default ABS with electronic brake pressure distribution, ESC electronic stability control with traction control, front thorax side airbags and side guard head curtain airbags, front passenger occupant detection for airbags, tire pressure monitoring system, security system with immobilizer, and all-wheel drive for improved traction and handling. For your convenience, there is cruise control, Audi hill hold assist, rain light sensor for automatic windshield wipers and headlights. Now, onto the engine. This A4 all-road comes with a 2.0 turbocharged TFSI 4-cylinder engine churning out 220 horsepower at 258 pound-foot of torque. The engine is slightly in front of the front axles, making it front heavy, and depending on how heavy your foot is, it consumes roughly 14 kilometers per liter of petrol. And I understand it's flexible on different types of fuels. The door feels like it weighs the same as an XC90 door, and this particular one has an interesting key to hold the strut. So for this little latch here, I find this crazy, but at the same time, very creative. I wonder who came up with this idea. Whoever did so, maybe a smarter thing would be having something like a rope, attach it somewhere here or attach it somewhere over here, just so that when you are closing the latch, it never goes missing. But good idea. As mentioned, the car's derriere is my main love of a car. Just look at the Atenza and look at the A6, look at the A4 right now, the wagon. This is where practicality really comes in. If you're traveling up country, you need that space. If you don't have that space, then yeah, it's a bit of a complex situation. So as a note, when it comes to the boot space, remember the A4 is the smaller version, and it is smaller comparable to the A6 and the Outback and also the V60. For the V40, we are not going to put it in this comparison because a V40 is a little bit more in comparison to an A3 hatchback. And trust me, the A3 hatchback, I feel like it has way more space compared to that V40 cross country. Now, with the boot space itself, the boot tray is reversible. You've got one side whereby you've got that soft velvety side, which you can use it to lay the boot a little bit flat. But then you have that tray, which when you flip it to the other side, it is plastic and it does have some grip to it. So if you've got things like fluids or let's say veggies, stuff that's cold or stuff that's really muddy and dirty, that's the side that you put it to make it easier to clean up the boot once you're done with it. You get 490 liters with the seats up and 1490 liters when the seats are down. Now, as you can see, for the seat itself, it is not fully flat, but it actually can still work out, especially with that privacy screen. When you look at putting in items in the boot space, it is big enough to put in a baby seat as well as a pram. But if you have a large suitcase, it fits well when you have a suitcase, a pram, and let's say a relatively sized bag. But the baby seat, of course, that's going to have to stay up front. So that means with sitting space, you have 5. With the baby seat, it's technically going to be 4, plus the baby in the seat itself. Now let's go and check out the interior space. One of the main things that really made me fall in love with an Audi, the very first Audi I actually sat in was a 2011 Audi A5. And the thing that I loved the most about it was the way the seats really hugged me. The smell, it's like Volkswagen Audi Group, they have that similar leather smell. No matter what year it is, it just smells good. This is a push to start stop on the center console, and the keyless entry that you add it in over there. The chair, they are 8-way. So you've got your front, back, up, down, and also you do have lumbar support. You can't see it, but I'm getting some lumbar support down there. Other than that, overall, when you look at the center console and also the main dash, this car feels more like a classic by this time, because with the Audi MMI, right now it does not offer you Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. You can add it in by a third-party option. On the main dashboard over here, let me just kick it off a bit. So on the main dashboard, what you get to see, you've got a mixture of analog and digital at the same time. With this on the steering wheel, you do have voice control. This is a bit ancient, still works out. Volume control, you get to choose different modes also on the steering wheel, and also options to be able to control the middle dash that's over here. So you've got your visuals for the different warnings that you get, radio option, and also Bluetooth if you've connected your device already. Other than that, lighting, it's a bit different from the BMW style. You have it similar to the Volvo, whereby it is turn dial. On the left stick, you have your wiper control, and also spray. Yay, finally I found the spray for the wiper. Pull for the spray for the wiper, the rear wiper, as you saw it at the back. The light control stick is on the left side. So this it feels a lot more comfortable than BMW mixing up everything everywhere where it is. For the gear, it's a Tiptronic with your paddle shifters over here on the top. Something I really love about the Audi entertainment system is your controls are down here primarily. It's not a touch screen. Your controls are down here, and it has a volume knob. Best option for the volume knob out of this generation of cars, because it is a dial, it is down here, and you don't have to fiddle around and figure out which of the buttons are the dial. Something else about the center, you have a sliding place where you can put in your coins, other things, and your cigarette 12-volt charger spot over there. A unique thing about Audis is they have these 3 slots over here. It seems a bit weird, but this is where you can be able to place your coins if you're paying toll and the rest of the things. There's a space over here for your phone to be able to drop it in. See, there's a space you can be able to put your phone over here. An extra 12-volt charger in here, so you can be able to charge your phone. Bam, bam, and pow, that's your storage. For cup space, this is a 500 ml bottle, big enough to fit here. And there's this other small one. I don't know what it's intended for, but it's quite small. Moving on to the storage space particularly, so for the center console, this is a multi-zone, so you can decide how far, how high you want to put it. But it doesn't fully enclose the storage space on that spot. Other things about storage space. On the side door, you have a space where you can put in your bottle. Fits in perfectly for both driver and passenger. Also the rear passengers, the space is great. And you have additional space over here on the side as well. Wood grain finish for this version with the quattro wording on that side. Glove compartment, you've got space for your manuals on the top, and also it's a relatively sized, decent, not the deepest, for your other things in here. There is a spot there for your valet key option and also a control port for the Audi MMI connection cables if you have extras. Other things, sunglasses spot, no sunglasses for this one. If you have a sunroof option, you'll have it fitted in there, and your usual lights, 3 lights, so 2 of them spots and 1 of them for the main one. So there we go. For the rear view mirror, it does have a sensor for the light sensor to adjust itself. He's got an ETC connected. When you put down the sunshades, this one comes in with the light. Actually, both of them come in with the light just in case you need it. Fly is gone. This fly's debugging. Yeah, so we've got sunshades with that. Oh, steering wheel is telescopic and also up and down, works quite well. Now, one of the pain points I found particularly for this Audi, and I don't know if it's a trim level or what, is when it comes to locking and unlocking the door, it's only available on the driver's side. But the passengers, all 3 passengers, they don't have that control option. I don't know if it's budget cuts or what, because they do have that space on the slot. And as usual, poverty spec buttons, there are features around on this one. Maybe that's why it is poverty spec at this section. So let's go to the back. First thing to check out is the door doesn't open super wide. It's fairly decent when it comes to putting in, like, let's say a child seat, or you want to lug things in. So to me, it's pretty much okay. Pain point, remember what I was talking about? There's no lock unlock button. I mean, there's being budget, and then this is a whole other level. At least I do have electronic window control. I am 5'7". This chair is all the way back. And honestly speaking, for someone who's taller than me, it's not going to be a comfortable ride. I can already feel the front part of my legs touching the front part, but headroom, it is really great. I have more than enough room on the top. Neck is okay. So for this case, I'd say if you're a taller person, or if you have tall passengers, go for the A6 instead. It has way more legroom. Or the Outback, it has way more legroom. Got 2 speakers on each of the rear doors. The bottle space at the back here, it's big enough to hold a 1.5 liter bottle of quencher. There is a coat rack over here. The driver's seatbelt, actually, it is adjustable. You haven't seen it. With the boot space experiment, you saw how we're using this to connect the divider for if you have animals. Hand holding, baggie holder there. You've got your maps holder. The nice thing about this front seat is it's curved for the legroom, knee room space. Certain cars, it's just straight out, and so you sort of squeeze yourself. You have a 12-volt charger here, so that means you have 1 in front, 1 in the storage, 1 here, 1 at the back. Nice A4 shiny ident in the middle part of the transmission. And remember, this is a 3-zone climate control, so you get to control how much how much airflow you want, and also the temperature you want. Now, unlike the sedans whereby for the middle seat area here you have access to your boot, this one you actually don't have access to the boot space. This is all blocked out. I'm guessing it's because since it's a wagon, you can just throw things straight up over there. Probably this seat is similar if you want to replace it with one from an A4 sedan. That still works out for you one way or another. Other storages, so this is a space that you can probably put a book in. With some of the Audis that I've seen, they've had first aid emergency kits inside here. It says it has a maximum rating of 0.5 kilograms worth of content. So you can find some first aid kits inside on this space. You have your standard cup holders. This one is working well, nothing broken. So that's a yay for the owner. Great job maintaining it. Pushing it back, it's just as simple as that. And now on to the next pain point, the transmission tunnel, the middle guy test. Now, let's say you are traveling long distance and this seat is all the way back, this seat is all the way back. So right now as it is, this one it's somewhat in front, which is great. This one is all the way back. You can see for the middle guy, they're going to be competing with the guy on his right for space. And you can't really put your foot up this way. This is going to be so uncomfortable to your hips, so that doesn't really work. So in terms of being a 5-seater for the A4, it's somewhat of a no for me. If you have, let's say, a small kid or someone of the sort, or all the people inside the car for the rear seats are small, the 3-seating, that one works quite well. So there's nothing else over here. But I forgot, for the driver and the passenger up front, there is a small storage that you can just unlatch over there. And I think that's about it in terms of the interior. This is my first time actually in terms of driving an Audi. Most of the instances I've had is just getting into the car, sitting down, feeling it, but now is when I can actually say I'm having an on-road experience. And thus far, what I've found about it is it's a lot more, let me call it, controlled. It's not what I had expected in terms of, I was expecting a stiff driving system, stiff steering wheel, similar to what the BMW had previously offered. The Benz, it was a lot more easy and smoother, wasn't so much of an issue. But for off-roading, to me, this one, the steering, it's smooth, it's not tough, and it's perfect. The only thing that I did find weird about for this particular train is I didn't have like an on-off switch for the off-roading capabilities. So when you look at what the Freelander has to offer, and also the A4 on a different trim or a different package, you have the Audi driving dynamics, whereby you can choose the different levels of stiffness of the shocks that you want. If I do remember correctly, you have 2 options for the shocks. You have the standard shocks, the springs, and you also have the airbag option. So the airbag, at least it gives you a bit of a ride control for it. No issue with the sticks, no BMW issues in terms of confusion of what is where. Fuel consumption, if I do remember correctly, the owner did mention that this one was giving him about 14 kilometers per liter. I've reset the system right now. I haven't seen clearly what I'm getting, but as we are talking, driving on this off-road, I'm seeing it bouncing between 7.4 and an 18 or 23. I'm guessing that's because I'm not going as fast as normal. But when I do hit the clear road, that's where by now I'll be able to really push it and see how much of a speed capability I'm getting. So this is rough road Maram, but the other one is okay.
Yeah, our ground clearance, it's a bit of a dance inside here, bit bumpy. So on this specific road, the last time I was here, I came with Renault. I came with a Renault Duster the last time on this road, and also I had an opportunity to have a Toyota RAV4, the new one, and I'd say the big difference between this one and that one, as I mentioned, for those ones, the suspensions, they were fairly new, and this one, they've stayed for a bit of a while. But other than that, it's a good experience. It's a good ride, fun ride with it. I can't go as fast as I want. It's not my car, so I can't really push it to the limit. But other than that, it's great. One of the main things I did find out that's a bit of an issue I have driving inside it is, you see, when you have a bottle stored over here and your hands are, you see, I'm properly set up in terms of driving position, but now my hand keeps knocking onto the bottle, so I'm not as comfortable with it. And then in another instance, let's say I take out the bottle and now I've got the armrest. So my passenger, they want to put their arms and be comfortable with it. But now for me, I'm just la-da-da-di-da. And then I want to make adjustments. Adjustment, it's fine when it's on this level. But if the armrest is a bit up like that, locked into that position, I'm just driving like normal, la-la-la-la-la, and elbow is nudging. Okay, let's lock it properly. So my elbow would nudge it. And also trying to control the dials also, it gets a bit tricky when the armrest is up on high. So for me right now, the hand being this way, this is really, really comfortable. Let's try and put it back down, all the way up, back to down here. It's okay. I actually prefer it when it's all the way up here. Yeah, and so that's kind of the experience that I'm having so far. And we are picking up a passenger. Oh, pole. Hey, nimesikia tuko kwa mwisho ya barabara. I was almost. Unajua mwisho ya barabara ni wapi? Mwisho ya barabara ni wapi? Ni mbali. Umeendesha gari mara mingi sana?
Ya. Mara mingi. Naenda Eldoret mara mbili. Nairobi nakuja na kurudi. And from Mulot mpaka Ruaka. Natumia 2,700.
Nataka tuweze pia kukipa hai kidogo kwa hii yetu hapa hivi.
Yeah.
Sasa hivi tunaendesha kwa reserve na niambia 40 kilometers.
Good.
Kwa pia vile tu mnasema saa zingine ni kama inacheza, haiko accurate kabisa. What has your other driving experience been with the car?
Okay, the car is faster. It moves fast.
Which other car did you have before, previously? Like one that you can compare to this one?
Probox Succeed.
You cannot compare Probox to this one.
Yes.
Hey.
Cannot.
Yeah, comparing Japanese to German machines. I think the only Japanese that we can really compare to this one, labda we say Prado or something of the sort. So kitu nilikuwa nasema, something that I love about the car is when you are also reverse parking and forward parking, the camera always goes on for reverse and it stays on. But now in terms of changing from reverse parking to the front, like it takes a bit of a while, and I'm suspecting if it had a front camera, it could have been able to change to the front camera. But at least the parking sensors, they're always active. Welcome to the tarmac road. Tajaribu ku launch kiasi. 3, 2, 1 and back. No lag. Lakini wameka bumps mingi sana kutu prevent watu wakwenda mbio hivi. Na hizi ni zile kubwa. But mkienda straight uzuri, zile bump you have to go at an angle. So at least ground clearance for the car iko properly set. Launching 3, 2, 1 and and 100. Compare with my Colt, na take a bit of a while kabla ni adjust vitu. Okay.
Actually, I don't think I'm even allowed to compare it to my Colt. So Bishi Colt, this one, 2 different groups. Mine is 95 horsepower. This is 220. Yeah. To 20 horsepower, you cannot compare it with the 95 horsepower at all. It's actually intended to be more of a light off-road vehicle, but when you just look at it from the aspect of hii ni gari ya both main road and also slightly off-road, so it hugs the road ile proper kabisa. Kiwa kwa kona na kumbuka tukikuja vile ulikuwa unacheka about corners. Sasa ndio hiyo kona zenye ninazipendanga. I wish ningekuwa na kamera yenye na face hivi ndio ionyeshe how my road actually looks like. So kitu moja sipendi about hii gari vile iko, hii ni blind sana. Inani block ile kuona vizuri kiingia kwa kona. So honestly, this thing, it's really gripping the road properly. Kuna magari zingine you can feel the weight. Una feel the weight ni kama ina sway around, but hii iko ni kama imeshikilia barabara kabisa. So I even understand the main reason why iko raised kiasi huko juu, iko raised kiasi, but pia bado iko karibu na barabara. Sasa ndio iko na moja tamu sana. Hiyo inaitwa G-forces. Nakuja na kambio kiasi na unauma kona pia. Ndio sasa pahali pa kuleta gari na kuienjoy vizuri. Lakini usifanye usiku. Usiku, Friday nights, Saturday nights. Hiyo tunaachia walevi. You don't want to be on the road at a risky time like that. Hii nikichange the gear between hii drive sport vile iko na nikikuja kwa hii side ingine, I'm not feeling a big difference. It's with some cars you can feel the difference ukikanyanga accelerator. But this one, everything is just the same. Stepping on the brake is the same, stepping on the accelerator is the same. I don't know if it's an Audi thing if
you can engage gears manual.
But I can engage gears manually. Personally, sija notice yet. Probably it's because I haven't gone really fast. You're testing everything. But I can already tell between me controlling the shifts and having just the shifts automatically change, this one is a lot more faster. Here using the paddles, it's easier for me to control. But the throttle, some of the cars ukitumia normal drive mode, una feel throttle iko heavy, alafu ukitumia sport mode una feel that response vizuri. Overview of the car itself from the discussion that I've had and also the research that I've done is this is an expensive car, so don't expect to really find this to be something that is easy to buy. If it's cheap to buy, remember it's going to be a bit pricey in terms of maintenance. And here is just to give you an example of how the maintenance for it looks like. First of all, if you're missing spare parts for the all-road, there's a reason why there are just a handful of them on the Kenyan roads. Spare parts are very rare. For a Q5, it's easy to get the spares, but for all roads, all trucks, it's going to be a bit difficult. And that's probably one of the reasons why you'd find most people opting instead to go for the Outbacks and for the V60, but not the V60 cross country. Now, the other thing is, so I've said spare parts, importing rather than finding them mostly local. This is just to give you an idea of how much pricing looks like. So getting decent brakes, it's going to cost you about 6K for a pair, and good ceramic ones, they're going to cost almost 10,000. Then for the tires, so this one runs on 245 R18 tires. So on GG as well as on Auto Express, the prices start from 11,000 shillings and it goes upward to about 32K a wheel for Michelin pilots. Decent front shocks, they're going to cost you about 10,000 shillings a piece. Energizer batteries, they'd go for 45,000 at Auto Express.
So at least you can buy the joystick that you notice that it's missing from here for 1,200 online on eBay and ship it in for about 1,500. You can use Kentex Cargo or a Quattro, any of them. But the main thing I'd recommend is find as many different parts as possible that you want, then ship them in at least so that you save the price. Now the last one is, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but with most Volkswagen Audi group cars, you can be able to get parts from, let's say, a Volkswagen or a Skoda, which is cheaper, and then you add them, you just find them and you replace them onto an Audi. That might be able to save you some costs, but just bear in mind there are certain things that are specific to the cars. For example, the hips, the grille, the interior, the MMI system, all of that is all different. So just know that buying the car, you are joining your own lane, and the recommendation is find others who own the all trucks or the all roads. Create a community with them such that it's easier to be able to get spares all together. Now the front, the engine shock that you notice, the one with the pin, that one costs about 10,000. Actually, I think it's even less than 10,000. You can probably get it cheaper, and you can even install it yourself if anything goes wrong with it. So overall, personally, I'd say it's worth it. You get the Audi premium feel for it. That off-road experience that we had, I didn't notice any issues that I can raise. We didn't hit any big rocks. And when you compare this with buying an A6, just the standard one, or the standard A4 or the A5, those ones are way lower. This one, raised ride height, boat, you've got so many options on how to configure it. And yeah, I think that's about it. When it comes to the fuel, it's an Audi. What do you expect? It's going to be drinking a bit.